Welcome back to episode 102, the Tyrod Taylor episode. Just the
Okay.
two. Last one was the Randall Cunningham. I forgot.
Mm.
Sorry. Of the Purple Rain podcast with Sutton Death, with Simply AS10, and more trades happen, more news. We kind of called them on Monday. Actually caught me off guard a whole ton on Tuesday, or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. But before that, we get into it. You know where to follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. Love the emoji right there. Just love it.
Oh yeah.
And then you can follow this guy over here on Instagram, on Twitter, at Sutton Def. Pretty simple. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10 and on TikTok at simplyas10. I'm actually posting a lot more there, surprisingly.
Ooh.
Yeah. None of them juju dances. None of them juju dances. Just football stuff. But we have trades to talk about. We have Ravens visits to talk about. I'm super excited to talk about and we have actually surprisingly a little bit of draft stuff too. I don't know if you've seen we've been at a couple of pro days. Haven't been at some pro days, and we got called out by one Deion Sanders about that. But yeah, how are you feeling?
Hey man, I'm feeling great. I can't complain at all. I am here for episode 102 of the Purple Rain podcast, man. And, it just feels great because we do have stuff to talk about. Like we always say, man, it's the off season, but the off season is sometimes the best season. A lot of times the best season because you get all this news. We have a lot of news to talk about on this episode. But it just seems to never stop. It's like a consistent flow. You have, your free agency, and then you have your draft, and then you have, all this other stuff, OTAs, all this other stuff in the off season where it just really makes it so interesting. So I am feeling super thankful, Alex, in short, basically, that we have this news to cover. Super thankful to be here for episode 102 of the Purple Rain podcast. As I said before, make sure you guys go ahead and like this video. Before we get into anything, make sure you like the video. We're getting into the housekeeping stuff. Let's go ahead and bring on everybody in the live chat right now, the live Rain gang. Darius D official is in the chat. What's going on, man? Yolanda in the chat. How are you doing tonight? Ray Rico, pretty boy Suave. Okay. Says love you, bros. Keep grinding. Okay, yes sir. We got you.
We love you. Thank you.
Yeah. Black Daniel says you're Rain gang. We in here. Alex and Sutton, what's good, fellas? What's going on, man? Appreciate you for coming through. Emmanuel in the building, in the house. What's going on, man? DLC. I see Team Ramey in here. I see Mod K-Dog, the Purple Rain pioneer himself, per usual, always consistent. Says, yo, what's good on this Friday Eve, Rain Gang family? What's going on with you, K-Dog? Thank you so much for coming through and joining the stream. Episode 102 of PRP. My guy Dylan in the house. What's going on, Dylan? How are you, man? Appreciate you for coming through this episode. Got my guy Dre in here. Yeah, everybody. Tanja Bowman. Let's see. K-Dog says smash the like button. Yeah, you gotta smash the like button. Thumbs up. Leave a thumbs up. Appreciate it. Yeah. So, one more thing. I would be totally remiss if I did not bring up the people who are not watching the live stream right now. If you're not watching this live right now, you're part of the hashtag replay gang. Thank you so much for coming out and watching this episode or listening to this episode of the Purple Rain podcast, episode 102. Thank you so much. 102. Wow, we're really in the triple digits. We really are.
We are.
It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I see Exley in the house. What's going on, man? Yeah. So we've got news to get into. I think the news that we should lead with is the most kind of breaking news of this week, the biggest news, no doubt, of the week. Let's go ahead and just get right into it. So Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, is just all of a sudden the Dolphins. So Alex, I mean, I'm at work the other day, right? And I'm just like,
talk about it. Just working, talk about it.
You know what I mean? And I get on Twitter and I see all these rumors and, people talking about Tyreek Hill getting, possibly being traded. The Chiefs are taking offers for it. I'm like, wait a minute. Whoa. I did not wake up this morning expecting Tyreek Hill to be, on his way out of Kansas City. I just did not, Yeah. Were you just as shocked as me?
It's like everything happened so quick. It's like, well, he could possibly be traded. And then it's like, well, there's these teams you're talking about. It's like, oh, well, expect him to be traded. You had no time to even digest that he was going to be moving on. I know personally I didn't. I kind of was in shock. I'm like, there's no way that they're going to get rid of Tyreek Hill, but they did. and now he's a Dolphin. And man, I really wasn't expecting it. In a division where everybody's getting better, the Chiefs are somehow getting worse. Simple as that.
I mean, do you really think that they're getting worse? So you really do not think that this was a good move for the Chiefs at all, is what you're saying?
If it was only money wise, I get it, but they just were never going to pay him that. So you know what? They do draft good. I'll give them that, and they have a great line. They have a great line. Their running back situation does scare me. I know they picked up Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Man, Tyreek Hill is a game breaker. He's one of one, definitely one of one. Hopefully, McCole Hardman steps up now.
Yeah, I mean that's the one reason that I can agree with anybody who says that this was just a bonehead move by the Chiefs, because Tyreek Hill is, like you said, a game breaker. He is a playmaker, certified, bona fide, no doubt about it. Like, yes, he's very fast, but I mean, you've got a bunch of guys who are really fast in the league. Like, you've got, I mean, Hollywood Brown. I mean, no shade to him, you know what I mean? But he's no Tyreek Hill. You've got guys like John Ross, who is even faster than Tyreek Hill, you know, but he's just not.
Perriman.
Exactly. He's just not the same caliber of football player that Tyreek Hill is. And Tyreek Hill, like, the way that he just understands angles, the way that he knows how to maneuver around a defense in order to get to the end zone, it's just second to none.
He can take a 5-yard pass to it for a touchdown. It's all against the Bills.
Like, it's priceless. It's priceless.
Like, he's one of one. I don't think there's any other player in the league that did what he did against the Bills. Like, he has a third gear. I didn't know that was possible.
I mean, you're talking late game, like, this guy's gonna win you the divisional round, like in the playoffs.
Fourth quarter.
In the cold,
like maybe you're getting tensed up. No, he was fine.
No, he's fine. He goes and makes that play happen. So yes, from that perspective, it doesn't make sense for the Chiefs to go ahead and get rid of Tyreek Hill. But when you think about it this way, the Chiefs are in a position right now where they have, like you said, a good O-line.
Yes,
they have a phenomenal franchise quarterback, you know, arguably the best quarterback in the league. And they also have 11 draft picks, and they draft well. So, and I mean, we have 10. I thought we had a lot of draft picks, and we do. But the Chiefs have 11. And they have they have 2 first-round picks as well. Picks 29 and 30.
And,
you know,
their draft last year, absolute hits. I mean, all around. Sorry. Creed Humphrey didn't have a first-round pick because we got theirs. They got Creed Humphrey, Nick Bolton, I believe Willie Gay, and I think they got somebody else as well. After that, 4 out of how many picks? Like, they're all starters, so they're going to be cheap for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So if they can just keep drafting well, I mean, it'll be a win-win. But one thing, which is crazy, I think it was the first-round pick that they gave up was from the Laramie Tunsil trade. The fact that this man smoking a bong dropped him to the Texans.
Yeah.
No, dropped him to the Dolphins. The Dolphins then fleeced the Texans because of Bill O'Brien.
Right.
And with those picks, with some of those picks, they've drafted Jalen Waddle, Javon Holland, and traded for Tyreek Hill. That right there, like the Dolphins, I mean, that's just the Texans being dumb. That's just insane. That one player turned into 3 quality. It's just crazy. So, my fun fact of the day.
Yeah, and another thing, too, that I was going to touch on, you know, Patrick Mahomes, like you said, they just recently brought on board Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster as well. Like, Mahomes, I fully expect him to elevate those 2 players, those 2 guys. Like, I expect them to both have career seasons this year. I really do. With the absence of Tyreek Hill and how they're going to have to kind of fill that role on top of McCole Hardman, you know, to kind of fill the role of being able to kind of free up Kelsey, you know. Where can you go on the field to get Kelsey matched up one-on-one with safeties, one-on-one with linebackers, that sort of thing, you know? Yeah. So I definitely expect that to happen. And from another thing, you know, just to add to the point that I'm making here, all these draft picks, to your point, Alex, they draft very well. So I think that them, and like I always say, you're only as good as your cheap labor. I think that their philosophy is, you know, we're going to pay 2 guys big money, and that is Patrick Mahomes, that's Travis Kelce. You know, Tyreek Hill, yes, he's a star, a superstar, you know, but wide receivers are also, I don't want to say replaceable because you really can't replace a person like Tyreek Hill. You really can't. But at the same time, like you said, all those high draft picks, and they tend to hit on a lot of these guys. So we don't know if they're going to go out and they're going to draft. What are some of the top wide receivers in the draft this year? Isn't it like what Chris Olave, kid from Ohio State?
Yeah,
You've
two
got
from Drake London from USC, and
London,
then
right?
there's the other guy from Ohio State.
Yeah.
I also with the Chiefs too. I saw him do
Who's
it
to
last
say?
year. Edwards-Helaire wasn't performing how they wanted. They had Jerick McKinnon, who used to play for the Niners, and he was absolutely amazing for them. I mean, for a backup running back, he was kind of just taking over drives for them. I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to get another receiver, and he's just going to put up numbers for them. It could be Sammy Watkins. I think Sammy Watkins should go back to the Chiefs because that's where his best years were. I mean, personally, I still think there's still another move for them to be made because they lost to Marcus Robinson, they lost Byron Pringle, lost Tyreek Hill.
I just that was literally like a huge bomb that was dropped on the league. Like one out of many, because we've had a couple this offseason already, but like come on, man. Like Tyreek Hill getting traded away from the Chiefs is just absolutely crazy news. And for him to go to the Dolphins, and I tweeted this out yesterday, I said it's kind of scary that, you know, the talent in the AFC is really like spreading out. It's spreading out like wildfire. Like you've got guys, especially guys coming from the NFC. You got who's migrated over from the NFC to the AFC now? It's like a bunch of guys now.
Russell Wilson, there's
Right.
one of them. I'm just trying to think quarterback wise. Well, Devontae Adams, that's another one. Marcus Williams, he's come over. Matt Ryan,
Amari Cooper, Khalil Mack.
Oh my goodness, it's like Khalil Mack feels like a year ago news because of how much has happened.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. And then you got a AFC to AFC transactions here. Tyreek Hill goes to the Chiefs. I mean to the Dolphins. I'm sorry. Deshaun Watson to the Browns, obviously, and Yannick Ngakoue to the Colts. Yeah. And the only transaction from the AFC to the NFC is Carson Wentz to the Commanders. So I don't know. It feels like the AFC is just getting tougher and tougher by the day. You know.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's go ahead and address the question and, you know, the title of the video. Are the Ravens doing enough this offseason to put themselves in the best position to be the front runners in the AFC? Or are they actually losing this offseason so far, Alex?
I need you to stay with me here. If this offseason wasn't so crazy, I'd say right now they're in a good spot. If this wasn't the wildest offseason ever, which I think we can 1,000,000% say it has been. Ever in history. I'd say that we weren't, but with everybody around us, it's kind of heading that way. We haven't lost anybody. I mean, we lost Averett and Bozeman. I think Bozeman's agent should get a new agent because he's making like $4 million, and he turned down our offer. Like that could really be another Patrick Owasso because we gave Patrick Owasso a multi-year extension on the table. He turned it down. Same thing to Bozeman. He turned it down. So
yeah,
I hope the grass is greener. We did upgrade safety. I don't know what would you call Michael Pierce. Brought back Ricard. If you get me J.C. Treader, I mean I can't say you're losing it. And with a good draft too, there's still multiple question marks on this offense, and they're mostly all on the line.
Yeah. Now, I guess like the only way you could, to me at least, the only way you could really say that the Ravens are not losing this offseason is because what a lot of people don't realize is the Ravens were already a lot higher ranked, or should have been ranked a lot higher in like the power rankings than they are. You know, and the reason that they aren't is because of the injuries in this past season and how we finished 8-9 and, you know, that sort of thing. But you got to think like a healthy Ravens roster. People forgot. We forgot. I forgot how dangerous a healthy Ravens roster can be. So, you know, I definitely think that I don't want to say that we're losing this offseason so far, because I definitely think that we've made moves, you know, to kind of put us in position to at least be better, to fill holes, voids, things like that. Marcus Williams at safety, we needed a playmaker back there. We got that. A right tackle, we needed a little bit more stability there. We got that, you know. And we also have 10 draft picks. We have the 14th pick, where I'm not exactly sure what we'll do with that. I think we should.
I heard the Giants are taking calls.
Are they really?
Indeed, for their pick.
man. Well, I don't know which pick do they have again?
I know I think they have 2 first-round picks. I'm not sure what pick, but I know they are fielding calls on first-round picks. So
Fielding calls on first round picks. Okay, so I mean, let's go this route. If in order for the Ravens to kind of do better in this offseason, to take that next step, that next leap, at this point, where do you think that they go in the draft in terms of position wise? Like, and I know we talk about this all the time, but like, just like my kind of thought process of it updates every day. I'm sure yours does as well. So like, let me know what you're thinking right now about like who you think the Ravens are going to draft with that first pick.
Apparently, EDC really loves Linderbaum.
That's just not it to me. It's a very Ravens like pick, and I get it. But this is an edge rushers and weapons league. As I actually listened to Colin Cowherd say earlier today, I actually like Colin Cowherd. Just shout out to him. A lot of people hate on him, but I actually kind of like him. But I mean, he's right about that. Like, it's an edge rushers, like shut down the other person's quarterback, the other team's quarterback, and be able to get your weapons across the field and score touchdowns. That's what the game is all about. So I don't know, man. I just think that like with edge rusher right now, we've got Owe and we've got Bowser, and we don't know what we're gonna do with
coming
Justin
off of a torn
Houston
Achilles in week 18.
Exactly. Working with a new defensive coordinator at that, and then at the same time as well, and we'll get into this in a second. I guess this can actually kind of transition us into our next topic here about pass rush, right?
Mm-hmm.
So about pass rushers and just kind of pass rushers coming to Baltimore, visiting Baltimore, and just kind of seeing what we are about. Now, me personally, I'm just going to get it out of the way, Alex. I'm going to tell you how I feel about this.
Okay.
I think it's way too late. I think it's far too late, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong here. I think it's far too late for the Ravens to try to go out and get a free agent edge rusher and expect him to be game-changing.
That's 100% facts. I can agree with that. Game-changing, yeah.
Yeah.
We're past that.
Right. We're past that time. Stage. We're past that time period. It's too late for that. So I fully expect. Well, I don't fully expect. I fully hope. I hope that the Ravens will address edge rusher in the draft as opposed to in free agency. If you're gonna do anything else in free agency, go out and, like you said, get a JC Treader. That's about it for me at this point. But what do you feel about these pass rushers? And let us know which ones were visiting the Ravens as well. What do you feel about them?
So Seahawks was Rasheem Green. And the Niners was Arden Key. Both had 6.5 sacks last year. Rasheem Green, like first game of the year against the Colts, absolutely took it over. Had a sack on Wentz, stopping Jonathan Taylor. A big reason why they won that game. Had a couple of big sacks throughout the season. Arden Key, same thing, 6.5 sacks, but he had 3 roughing the passer calls, which actually kind of scares me because I feel like enough. We already get some BS roughing the passer calls. We don't need anybody else with just throwing that too. I'll tell you what, I would rather take one of them back over Houston. I would like to go younger, hopefully for the right price. But I do agree with you that we're past that. And the only thing that we can hope is that they have a career year. Like the fact that that's what we're banking on now to bring in an outside player to get sacks. We need them to have their absolute best year they could have. And I feel like we've been doing that for years.
Yeah. I mean, agreed there. But this also makes me think, like, you got to think, like, guys like Odafe Owe, we're really going to need him to take that step up, that next step this season.
He looked really good the first half of the year. I think he had 5.5 sacks. Dealt with an injury. Maybe with a new defensive coordinator, maybe we'll see. I know he was getting dropped into coverage a couple of times. I think that's probably one of Mike McDonald's, like, if he had, like, a 3 things to do, probably definitely fix up the pass rush is number 1 or 2. It has to be.
And I like that. I like that you're saying, like, if you gave Mike McDonald a to-do list for that defense, like, I think, fixing the pass rush would be at the top of that list for sure. Like, because there is absolutely no reason that the Ravens should pride themselves on defense and have like a defensive culture surrounding them and, be in the bottom half of the league, the bottom quarter of the league in sack totals. So it's just, doesn't make sense. But let us know what you guys think down in the live chat and also in the comments below. If you're part of the hashtag replay gang, make sure you leave a like on episode 102 of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Let's see. Emmanuel Sapa says Arden Smith has 6.5 sacks on 35% of snaps played.
I guess we're thinking about Arden Key.
Or
That's
Arden Key. Yeah, Arden Key.
yeah.
Right.
And he did play for the like. He had a slow start to his career, but he's progressively been getting better every single year. And it didn't hurt that you're playing with it, with Nick Bosa. Yeah, playing with Nick Bosa, playing with a defense of the Niners that is pretty damn good.
Yeah. Let's see. Spooky J says, bruh, when I saw Wink put Oweh at defensive tackle, I was about to rage in real life.
And speaking about Wink's took Justin Ellis. He took somebody else from our defense. Took Jihad Ward too. I mean, just getting the guys back up over there in New York.
Yeah, hey, want some of his guys back. Can't blame him. You know, best of luck to him. Still, best of luck to him.
We do see them this year. That'll be fun.
It will. It will be. I think that we can definitely walk all over them, and I would love that. Again, no hard feelings.
Galore. Covers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, again, I definitely think that the Ravens should try to go ahead and address edge rusher in the draft, just like they did last season in the first round. Like,
and we still have Dalen Hayes coming back, who looked good in the preseason.
That too.
He did look good, but it's like I'm not going to try to expect too much out of him. Honestly, realistic, maybe expect 3 sacks the most out of him. Because he didn't really have a rookie year. He played in the preseason games, training camp, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, it just kind of feels like the Ravens, they could be doing more. You know, they could be packaging up some of these picks out of the 10 that they have in order to go and get a guy, you know, a key pass rusher or just a key player who's going to be that game changer, you know.
Yep.
And we know they spend a lot of money on defense, and they've done the same thing, you know, this offseason. It's been no difference what they paid, you know, Marcus Williams, what was it, like $70 million?
5 years, $70 million.
Yeah, like they love to ball out on defense. So it's just like, I don't know why you don't ball out with those
energy.
Right, ball out with those draft picks too. If you're gonna spend the money, you spend those draft picks. F them picks. I'm kind of like on the same bandwagon now, honestly.
F them picks. To trade up, or
yeah. I mean, just to either to trade up, yeah. If we want to trade up and we want to get, you know, a guy that we really like in the top 10, sure. Or if it's to get an impact player.
I know hindsight's always 20/20. It really is.
Right,
I'm just thinking about last year. Imagine we trade up in the second round and get a center to get a Creed Humphrey. A lot of questions are answered this year. I'm not saying he will be as good as he was with the Chiefs, but how about that wasted pick on Ben Mason, that wasted pick on Sean Wade, and maybe a pick from this year?
Yeah.
If you know that we're going to get a comp pick for one of these guys, package them together and try to move up.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hindsight, but I would like to see maybe a little bit more just initiative.
Right. Just something, you know, because like it seems like it kind of does seem like we're falling behind in some ways. Like when you look at teams like the Chargers, it's like, okay, they just fully decked out their defense, you know what I mean? Just decked out their team just in general, you know. The Raiders going out and doing the same thing, sparing no expense. Like it's crazy to see the Ravens like sit back and kind of just stockpile these draft picks and draft guys who they end up cutting a couple months down the line and then re-signing or trading or whatever. Can we just like, what is the plan for Ben Mason? Yeah,
like,
I mean,
well, we should. I don't know why we're talking about this, but it's like we have Pat Ricard 3 years. I'm not gonna sit here and bash it. He's great in the run game. You re-sign Ben Mason. What are we trying to maybe like show his worth in the preseason and maybe get a pick for him? Is it like if we're thinking like that in March before free agency, I have a real big problem. If their plan is to re-sign him and hope he plays good to get a draft pick instead of focusing on free agency, I have a huge problem.
Yeah,
because that's something that has to be dealt with.
That's not win now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What? Thank you.
Yeah.
I really hope that's not their plan. Maybe they're trying to get him into a tight end, maybe, but
who knows, man. But yeah, just kind of wrapping it up on pass rushers visiting the Ravens. Like I said, again, just all in all, I think it's far too late for the Ravens to go out and get.
You see one of them?
Yeah. Would you say what?
Would you like to see us sign one of them though?
I mean, no, honestly, I
Really?
wouldn't. No, I mean, because at this point, like I said, I don't want to see us draft Tyler Linderbaum with center at the 14th pick. So I would rather assign a center,
Okay.
and then go out in the draft and get another position.
Okay.
But that's just me, right? So another thing I kind of wanted to we wanted to talk about was DeVante Parker as
Yeah.
well.
See him down there. Yeah.
Yeah, should the Ravens trade for DeVante Parker? Now, me
I.
personally, I'm gonna give him the Jarvis treatment. Same thing I said about Jarvis Landry a couple weeks ago, man. I say hell no. I say no. We don't need to spend money on any more receivers. I have full faith in that of Hollywood Brown, Mark Andrews, and Rashad Bateman as our main pass catchers. And we also have other
Bateman has
guys
been putting
underneath
in
that.
work too. Bateman has
Right.
been. Now,
He
one thing I'm gonna
has.
say is I know Hollywood is not posting on and like posting his workouts. So just because they're not posting doesn't mean they're not working. And
Right.
so Bateman has posted, but what I've seen from him, that looked nasty. That looked
Yeah.
like that was, man. Um, I'm I don't know how I feel about DeVante Parker. Uh, I do look at the Dolphins. I'm like, wow, like they had Jalen Waddle, they had DeVante Parker, they had Mike Gesicki, and they said Tyreek Hill's available. We got the money. After that, let's go and get him.
Got him.
And I'm like, bro, like Tua turned the ball over, has more weapons and more faith in him than Lamar Jackson. Like with
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel, who is a very creative coach. We've seen it with the Niners. They get Raheem Mostert, get Chase Edmonds, get the best free agent that was available in Teron Armstead.
Hmm.
Get a left tackle, get him a guard. Like sure up that line, like bro, like I'm jealous of what they're doing. And the Dolphins are poverty.
Yeah.
Like they beat us, yeah, but like
Yeah.
when you look what they've done recently, like am
They
I
said
missing something?
we're gonna build around Tua Tagovailoa. Like he showed us nothing yet. He showed us really nothing. I mean, he came on kind of strong at the end of last season. He had some good
Sounds like
games. You know.
beat us.
Yeah. Exactly. But just off of that alone, you can see what the Dolphins are doing. Just investing everything, getting him that offensive line, like you said, getting him the weapons. It's
And
it's
I
telling.
respect it. They're not
Yeah.
laying down to the Bills. They're like, oh, really, Bills? You think you're all that? Okay,
Right.
bet. I
Exactly.
respect that 1,000,000%.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Absolutely, man. Uh, Now, for me personally, I mean, I don't like I said, I don't think that we should get DeVante Parker again. I definitely like the receivers that we have. I think that we'll be good with the receivers that we have as long as we get some blocking. We can get some blocking. We can get, Ronnie Stanley back healthy. If Morgan Moses can live up to what that front office thought he was when they decided to bring him in the building a couple weeks ago, then
Yep.
yeah, I think we should be good. I think we should be good with the receivers that we have. Now, another thing I wanted to touch on, kind of getting back to the Dolphins, Alex, and the whole Tyreek Hill situation. Do you truly believe that Tyreek Hill makes the Dolphins that much better? Because I honestly don't. For the very reason, Tua, right?
You know what? I saw Engraven was streaming this yesterday, and I actually I think there's a bigger reason why they did it. I think they're gonna go after a quarterback next year. They're gonna pitch him something. They're gonna pitch, hey, this is your hometown. You got a line. You got weapons. Lamar, come home. If he doesn't sign a contract
Oh
with
my gosh, no way. There's no way.
bro, I hope there is no way. I really hope so, but I'm at the point where like this offseason has made me believe that like nothing's guaranteed. But they're waiting for another quarterback to just get pissed off, like what the Broncos did.
But they gave up so much though. So it's like, are you saying that because next year's quarterback draft is supposed to be a lot better than this year? So you're
Yeah.
saying are they gonna tank for a higher pick this season with all that talent
no.
on their team?
I'm not gonna say they're gonna tank. I'm gonna say I think they definitely are looking at Lamar Jackson. I'm really gonna be honest. Like he can go back home.
They're not.
And
They're not looking at Lamar. There's no way. There's no way. There's just no way, bro. Like, I just don't see that the Ravens letting Lamar Jackson leave Baltimore. I just don't, because you're not gonna get. You remember how we talked about Tyreek Hill about being that game breaker, that just playmaker who just you can't replace. That is Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens know that. You know,
They don't treat him like that. I'm
we say that now. We say that now, but I can guarantee you they will throw the bag at Lamar Jackson at
I
some
hope so.
point down the line. They
I
will. They have to.
I they have to. I if that were to happen, man, whew,
Oh, it'd be
oh my
riots in the streets of Baltimore.
goodness.
It'd
Oh
be
my.
crazy. It would be crazy. Like there'd be no way. There's no way that Lamar
I
Jackson.
I'm just trying to think just outside the box, and I just thought about, I'm like, wow, like, cause you think about it, it's like, do they really believe in Tua this much? Like, they've literally signed Tyrod Taylor, who was a starter last year. They had
Mhm.
Jacoby Brissett last year, who was a starter with the Colts. Like, they don't believe in Tua, no matter what they say. They were trying to trade for Watson. Like, I don't care what anybody says, they do not believe in Tua.
Well,
So,
I think that they would probably like a a big arm quarterback though, because you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. That's like one of the fastest wide receiving duos in the league.
yep.
So you need a guy who can kind of like Mahomes or Justin Herbert extend the play and like just make something happen downfield. And that was kind of the point, the original point I was going to get at, talking about if Tyreek Hill really does help the Dolphins. And right now, I don't think he does, because Tua Tagovailoa doesn't really give you that. He's not a really good deep ball thrower, nor does he do it that often. He's more of like a short to intermediate routes kind of guy. So you're going to see Tyreek Hill doing a lot of the same things he did in Kansas City in terms of like, screens and, slant, short routes, things like that, and just
Drag routes
racking
that
up
he can
drag
take.
routes,
Yak.
racking up the yak. Exactly. But if teams know that that's the main thing that they, have to focus on, I think it'll be a little bit more easier, to game plan for it. Get some
Yep.
pressure into his face and, just kind of plaster on Tyreek Hill. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm no
I'm
football
sorry.
coach, but I just think that they'll be good.
Bryce corrected me. It's Teddy Bridgewater who's there. So they did sign a starter quarterback from last year, and Teddy Bridgewater, who is there behind Tua, and he refused to say if they'd said he would be a backup. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow, man. Kali
I
says EDC would be fired if Lamar leaves.
I just say that because I remember I watched something about the Buccaneers, and they had this whole big plot to get Tom Brady, and they pitched him how the warm weather and just the weapons and this and that, and the Dolphins can pitch the same exact thing. So
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now,
I don't
what
want it to
I
happen whatsoever. Don't. I'm not a Lions fan. No, I'm a Ravens fan to death in
I
me.
got
But I
you.
don't want that to happen. But
I got you. Now, Alex. With that being said, I guess that actually perfectly leads us into our next topic. Um, Lamar Jackson does still have to be paid by the
yeah,
Ravens, and I
yep.
believe it will happen. I definitely
I hope
believe it
so.
will.
Hope so.
But there have been a lot of other QB signings, quarterbacks getting ridiculous amounts, copious amounts of money recently, just in the past couple of weeks, which is shifting the quarterback market and just driving it upwards. Like those gas prices we see all around right now.
Yeah,
Same thing with the QB prices.
yeah,
They're going up and up and up. They're being inflated right now.
yep.
And it's just
That's
right
that,
around the time. Yeah.
and it's just gonna go up more because of salary cap.
Yeah.
That Amazon deal.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean,
So,
Kirk Cousins, Watson, um, Matt Stafford,
right.
just three.
Yeah. Rogers just signed his deal for his money.
There you
You
go.
know, there's a lot of guys getting paid out there, and Lamar Jackson is slated to be one of the next ones up. Now, with the QB market rising, what will it take? What will it take for Lamar Jackson to actually sign with the Ravens? That number, that figure, we don't know,
Yeah,
folks. We actually don't know.
there we go.
But what are we looking at in terms of Deshaun Watson? What was his deal exactly again?
What, 4 years, 230 million, all
4
guaranteed.
years, 230 million, all of it guaranteed, every penny. That is a ridiculous amount of money right there. A ridiculous amount of
Yeah,
money. I believe that the Ravens will try to get Lamar Jackson also on a 4 to 5 year deal. I
agreed.
definitely believe that. And they're gonna have to break the bank for it. And 230 million. What do you think about that figure? Do you think that figure, should he be making more than Deshaun Watson? I mean, he's undefeated against him. No,
He is. But like we talked about, it's a team game.
you're right.
Um,
It's not head to head.
yeah, and I think, listen, I don't know which side is which. We should never let Josh Allen get paid before Lamar Jackson. Number one, that should have never happened.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know why that happened, and the longer we wait, the more it's going to screw us. I think I really do, unless he wins the Super Bowl.
But that says a lot about the front office, though. Does it say a lot about the front office of these other teams, or does it say a lot about Lamar Jackson and maybe him not having an agent, so to say?
Our front office was watching Malik Willis's pro day. I don't know why the hell we have a scout there.
Me neither. Honestly,
I'm kind of just confused with everything right now.
Yeah, but I mean, you bring up a good point. I want to go back to this. Josh Allen should have never gotten paid before Lamar Jackson, and the fact that Josh Allen did get paid before Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson was doing amazing things in the league, while Josh Allen was kind of like I don't want to say like shaping up to be a bust, but he just wasn't playing that well, right? He just wasn't playing that well early on in his career.
Overthrows.
Exactly. But Josh Allen got paid first. So what does that say about their front office? They saw just one little thing in Josh Allen. One little thing. Because I don't think Josh Allen has had as many moments, quote unquote moments, big moments as Lamar, like game-changing moments. If we had to go through and list them, I got Lamar Jackson having a little bit more.
The only problem he's had more in the playoffs.
He's had more in the playoffs. That is the only thing. But they paid Josh Allen before he started getting this playoff success.
Yep.
You know?
I think they paid him after they made it the championship. They beat a Phillip Rivers led Colts. And they beat a Tyler Huntley led Ravens in the middle of the third quarter.
Right.
And then they lost against the Chiefs and they paid him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
They put up 10 points in the divisional round. The offense did.
I just think at this point the Ravens should have been gotten this deal done. They should have been gotten this done. Like you have to lock up your guy first and foremost. If they did, we'd have more cap space to work with right now. You know? But it's just I don't know. It seems like somebody's dragging their feet. And, you can kind of say it's the Ravens because they're not, offering what they necessarily should be offering for a player of, Lamar Jackson's caliber. Or you can say it's Lamar Jackson because, he's not really playing ball right now.
Or you can just think maybe he's just betting. He saw what Joe did.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same thing. I don't know
who.
My big worry is that, knocking on wood, like I'm just going to just look at all, like what if he just underperforms this year? What if he was healthy the whole season and we missed the playoffs? Yeah. Now, let's say we missed it because everybody else is that much better. I don't know where you go from there.
Yeah.
Which is why I think when you're waiting this long, I think I saw K-Dog say, like, what if Lamar has like a 2021 year? Like, what if he gets what if the line that we didn't work on, I'm not going to say what happened, but the same thing happens because of that line. And then the front office tries to play the injury card on him. Like, this is why it should have been done because they're just going to cause more problems in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's always better to lock up your guys early so you can kind of know what you're working with from there, for sure.
Bro, the Bills, we beat them 47 or 48-7 in the week 1 of the 2018 season with Flacco at quarterback, and Josh Allen came in for Nathan Peterman. Who would have thought that Josh Allen would have got paid before the guy who led us to the playoffs that year? That's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah. It is insane. It's insane. But I mean, if you think about it, if you're Lamar Jackson, you're kind of sitting back with your feet kicked up. It's like, hey, these guys are getting paid.
I'm waiting.
Right? I'm waiting. Like, I'm gonna have to. Oh, this guy's getting paid. This guy's getting paid. Okay.
It's like Kirk Cousins, $45 million.
So,
he has one playoff win.
Yeah.
I got the same thing. I've been playing though.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson, he's going to have a whole resume, multiple page long resume of reasons why he should be a top 3, at least highest paid quarterback in the world. Like
top 5 if you're pushing it. If you're pushing it, 5.
Right, if you're pushing it. Exactly. Pushing it. But yeah, just all the games he's won, his success, especially in the regular season, hasn't really amounted all that much in the postseason yet. Not yet, but we will see what happens once he does have, consistent weapons and line, things like that. But I don't know. He's going to have to get his money soon and very soon. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and
protect him too. Protect him.
Yes, we want to protect him.
Don't sit here and give him Tyree Phillips a tackle again and say, "Oh, why didn't you do?" protect.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. So we're going to go ahead and get into our burning questions segment
Yes.
of this episode 102 of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Make sure you like the video if you have not already. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Helps us out a ton. We would thank you guys so much. So much. Make sure you leave your burning questions down below in the live chat. If you're not watching live right now, you're part of the hashtag replay gang. Leave yours down in the comments below. But yeah, man, so far, just kind of talking about this, man. It's been a crazy offseason. This is the craziest offseason that I can remember in recent history, honestly.
Ever. I think ever.
Yeah. Just so much happening, dude. Like, it's just, you've got, I think, like you said it last week, from Brady coming back to, and then yesterday Tyreek Hill,
franchise players,
like Deshaun Watson is in the AFC North now. It's Russell Wilson is, oh my goodness, like it's crazy.
Like a former number 1 pick in Baker getting traded. Right. Matt Ryan, who has been with the same team his whole career. I mean, and I think the biggest news possibly today, I mean, Joe Flacco re-signed with the Jets. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question, Alex. I'm going to ask you this, and then we'll get into some questions from the Rain Gang here.
Okay.
Do you feel bad for Baker?
Do I feel bad for Baker? Not really. But at the same time, it's like nobody. I get why he played hurt. But to some of the fans that are on his butt, like, he did bring you guys a play. You guys weren't a laughing stock for a year.
Yeah. Rejuvenated that franchise.
But you got to look at the Odell stuff that came out. That wasn't cool. I mean, you're a number 1 pick. You're gonna get paid millions. I don't feel that bad for you, but It could have went differently. But
yeah, I definitely think that I kind of feel bad for Baker. I do, because like I said, it feels like he gave his all to that franchise, the Browns, and played through injury. Played through all the criticism, people saying, "Oh, he's making more commercials than the playoff wins, whatever." But
got his bag. I'll respect that.
Got a bag. At the end of the day, though, the guy showed up. He was really good in that 2020 season, especially in the second half of it. He was playing really well when he was healthy. Yeah. Had a good O-line, was utilizing his weapons, that sort of thing. But now it just seems like, ever since he got hurt and, things kind of went south for the Browns at the end of last season, everybody kind of turned on him, and everybody just kind of started pointing the finger at him. And now it came to a head to a point where they said, okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to another guy. Now they brought Deshaun Watson in the house, who just sat out a year after, the year before that, leading the league in, passing yards and just lighting it up, so they get a franchise quarterback. So basically, it's like Baker Mayfield walked so Deshaun Watson could run for the Browns. And that's what doesn't seem fair to me.
Even in his rookie year, he wasn't the starter. I think it was it Tyrod, I believe, and no, who was it? It was somebody his rookie year when he took over.
I think it was Tyrod.
Yeah, because they lost all those games, and then Baker got them that win on Thursday night against the Jets.
The Jets, yep.
And like, I think a big thing, they kind of failed him his second year when Lamar won his MVP, because they had Freddie Kitchens as head coach. They looked very scary when they had Greg Williams, as much as with the whole bounty stuff and how bad of a coach he is, like just morally wise, football wise, he had the Browns, like he took that Ravens team to a CJ Mosley interception. Like, they were playing us hard. They didn't go away, even when Lamar was running all over him.
Yeah.
I think they kind of failed. They should never got Kitchens as a coach. I think that's number one. Stefanski, obviously, won coach of the year. But I guess he had high expectations, and just after they beat the Steelers, I think they got a little too over their heads about beating that Steelers team. Like, because he couldn't beat Chad Henne when it really mattered.
When it came down to it, yeah, that definitely did tarnish the. It
hasn't been the same since.
Yeah, you're kind of right about that. Not that you bring it up.
There goes my light. That's karma. That's karma. Sorry, Baker.
Hey, listen, guys, we do have about 85 people watching live right now. The episode 102 of the PRP Purple Rain Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. This is the burning questions segment, so drop your questions. We're going to take a couple here before we get out of here for the night. Let's see what we have here. I saw one for my guy Black Daniels. He says, I'm going to ask again, is Seattle actually shopping DK Metcalf, or is that speculation and rumors? The Kalins, the Carriers, Metcalf.
Yes. I don't think they are. I mean, could they?
I think they should.
I think they should too.
Yeah.
I think with the Rams and the Niners and even the Cardinals, I think they're the worst team in the NFC West. You lost your identity in Russ and Bobby Wagner.
Yeah. It's like what is DK Metcalf really going to do for you right now?
Especially we're going to a contract year.
Right. Yeah, I think that they should be in the market for trading him and trying to get some capital for that because they're in rebuild mode. If they don't want to admit it, I will.
That's a first or a high second. I think that's the first easily.
Yeah, I would say a first. A high second, pushing it, but I could see a first. But as a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I can see a second. I can see a second.
And a third.
Yeah, I can see a second and maybe a third too. Maybe a first might be pushing it. But yeah, they should be in the market for that. Black Daniels. Let's see. Chris Reed says, I have a question. People want a number one wideout, which nowadays top 10 guys getting paid 20 plus million. Would you guys pay that for a wide receiver in this offseason? In my opinion, no. I want an offensive lineman and use our in-house guys. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with Chris here. I don't want to pay Jarvis Landry. I don't want to pay a DeVante Parker. I don't want to pay any of these other free agent wide receivers. Jesus, I want an offensive lineman to protect Lamar Jackson so he can throw to our first round draft pick last year, Rashad Bateman. We gotta stop thinking like these draft picks and these pickups from the past like can't turn into something still beneficial for us. Like just because we drafted Rashad Bateman and Odafe Owe last year does not mean that they're old news. These guys are not old news by any stretch of the imagination. We can still utilize these guys and they still have the best football ahead of them. The potential in them is still untapped. So I don't subscribe to the idea of us going out and paying big money for another wide receiver, put him on a 1 year, 2 year deal. It's no. I agree with Chris.
I'm not going to pay a guy $20 million unless it's like a Devontae Adams or like a the best in the league type of. But if it's like 1 year, $4 million, now we're talking. But I obviously want a lineman too. But as for in-house guys, it's like we still have Nick Boyle who's making $7 million this year.
Yeah.
We're gonna. I mean, there's a third. Do we draft a third tight end? Do we sign Josh Oliver? Other offenses aren't having this conversation because they don't have the offensive coordinator that we have, which is pretty sad to think about. And I think that everybody but our offensive coordinator has faith in Rashad Bateman. Like, just think about it. Just because the first drive, it's scripted. Maybe 2 or 3 passes to Bateman. What happened? He wouldn't be on the field. Like,
Talk about it. Yeah,
I'm tired of wasting. I'm just tired of wasting because I think Pat Ricard had more targets in the Pittsburgh game in Pittsburgh, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be happening.
No,
I'm not like there is times where Ricard can have a nice little dump off and he'll get a first down. Bro.
Yeah.
Rashad Bateman is him. That Browns game, you should have known.
Yeah. I mean, and I definitely think that Lamar Jackson was watching that game, and I think that when we do get that whole offense back healthy and on the field next season, it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous, and these other AFC teams, these other teams in the league are going to have hell to pay when it comes to Lamar Jackson actually getting time, and then you see Rashad Bateman in his second year actually, getting more open, getting more yards after the catch, fighting through defenders, things like that. I have a lot of faith in this guy. And like I said, just because he was drafted last year does not mean he is old news. So I don't think that we need to go out and get another wide receiver. Now, KJ follows up this question with another one here. It says, what about a Julio Jones cheap deal?
I don't think he's going to take a cheap deal.
Right.
I don't know. I don't even know where he would fit. at this point. Probably Tampa Bay. I mean, but I think the minimum for him is like 6 or 7 million. But if he's that cheap, I mean, just you can't have him on the field too much or he'll get hurt.
I can see Julio Jones going to Tampa Bay. Now that I think about it, like you got to think like I know Tom Brady loves Julio Jones. He wants
Yeah.
Julio Jones on the Bucks. Like after that Super Bowl, where obviously the Patriots came back and beat the Falcons, there was
Julio
that
was,
catch. There was that
yeah.
catch by Julio Jones. Like I think it was like right before the half, and I'm sure if you're Tom Brady, you're sitting there watching like, damn, that guy's good. I would love to play with him someday. You know,
Or
like and
or Julian Edelman comes back. It's one of those. It's either Julio or Edelman. I think is going to
yeah, I mean,
Tampa.
and at this point, Brady's, he's gonna get whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He's gonna get whatever he wants. Like, hey, if he tells the front office of the Bucks, hey, do what you got to do to go out and get Julio Jones. I hit him up. We had a phone conversation last night. I want him, in the wide receiving core. They're gonna do whatever they need to do to go out and get him. And I think it would definitely help them too. But as for the Ravens, again, no, no.
I'm gonna go back to our Bateman thing. When
Okay.
I know the Dolphins game was just basically a nightmare. When Lamar was in a no huddle offense, Bateman showed out that like the last two drives. I don't know if you
Mm,
remember that. Like Lamar was throwing to him. So that and then what he got hurt a couple weeks after that.
yeah.
Maybe like we let him go more no huddle, or maybe call his own plays. I know it won't happen, but maybe I'm just wishful thinking at this point because it was one
Yeah.
on one catches he was making.
I mean, I think that because you're going to get one on one with Rashad Bateman when you have Mark Andrews, who has to be, double teamed, accounted for at all times. You have Hollywood Brown, who can take the top off of a defense. So in that hurry up offense, like when there's a lot of course, short, intermediate, you're trying to get the ball out quick, get the ball upfield as quick as possible. That is where Rashad Bateman is going to excel because he's a route technician. And I definitely think that the Ravens should implement that more in the offense. And we talked about that over the season too. Like, where's more hurry up? Where's more up tempo? Because when we do that, our offense is just that much more potent, and we've seen it. We've seen it against the Colts the last two seasons, like two matchups against them, other games as well. Like it's nasty when we
It
go up
was it
tempo.
was the Colts game was like everything was like we had Prochet involved, we had Duve involved, we had Watkins involved before he got hurt. Hollywood was involved, Josh Oliver was involved, Mark Andrews obviously was like everybody that he could throw to was involved that game.
Right? Yeah, you're
And why
right.
does that have to happen when we're panicking because we're losing?
Not sure. I'm not sure, man. It's sad. It's sad, but we would definitely like to see the Ravens adopt that style a little bit more often. Let's see. We'll take a couple more here. This one's coming from D3. Says, should we go for a middle linebacker at pick
Ooh.
14 since we have question marks there too?
Yeah, with Chris Board going to the Lions as well. I mean, we have we lost Anthony Levine and we lost Chris Board, special teams wise.
Yeah.
I never was a fondest of him in defense, but he was amazing in special teams. You can't lie about that. Uh,
Right.
that leaves Queen, Malik Harrison, and Christian Welch. We have Fort and Bynes, obviously. Um, I know there is a free agent linebacker still. I know he played for the Chargers, I believe, is still out there. Um, I wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't count that anything out at 14 anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's a toss up, and like we keep saying, like it seems like best player available is just like, just don't draft a center because like that's not gonna put
Sign,
us
si- sign the guy who was on a really good. Sign JC Treader, please.
right. Like let's not draft a center. That's not gonna put us at the top of the AFC heap. It's just not gonna do it. Like after what all these other AFC teams are doing, no, that's just not gonna do it. I'm sorry. But yeah, thank you for your question, D3. Let's see. We'll take one more here. Let's see here. Jonathan Washington Jr., my guy, says,
Okay.
why have we not addressed center yet? Makari, not Tristan Colon Castillo are reliable options as a starter. Get JC Treader.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
Both of
mean, I
them have
think
proved they can come on and they can do a good job as a sixth lineman if somebody gets hurt. But we haven't seen. We saw Colon Castillo start against the Rams. That game was a little. Um, I don't know. I don't know why we haven't. I hope we've been talking to Treader. I really hope we've been talking to him. I hope we should.
right, exactly. I heard somebody in the chat earlier today said that they were lowballing JC Treader at first, and
If we lowball JC Treader, there has to be questions asked at our press conference, and I hope somebody has the rocks to do it.
yeah. Let's see. My guy Black Daniels here, just to go ahead and wrap it up, says, I can hear the press conference now after we draft the center. We feel amazing because we got our guy and he's going to help us get better and get back to Ravens football.
A real play like a Raven guy, really just comes in every day,
Yeah.
works hard, bring your lunch to work type of guy.
Bring your lunch to work type of guy. And that's who you want, right? That's who you want in the building at all times. That's what we felt like we were getting with this pick. And, I could just hear EDC now. Like, oh my God. If it's a center, though, there's going to be hell to pay. Yeah. There will be hell to pay because it's not enough. It's not enough, It's like sometimes it feels like in the offseason, we make the mistake of bringing a knife to a gunfight. Like, we aren't doing enough.
Yeah, we're bringing a musket to advanced warfare. That's what we're doing.
Pretty much.
We're getting the gunpowder in there trying to.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, guys. So this has been episode 102 of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching this episode. For all of my guys in the Rain Gang, the live chat, and everybody part of the hashtag Replay Gang as well. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of PRP. Make sure you like the video before you get out of here. Also, subscribe to the channel as well. Just to wrap it up, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def, just like you see right there. My guy SimplyAS10, you can find him on Twitter at SimplyAS10, on Instagram at SimplyAS10.prod, and on TikTok again at SimplyAS10, right?
It's just SimplyAS10 everywhere, basically. Yeah, why not?
Sweet. All right, and then, of course, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast, which you're going to want to make sure you do to get all updates on everything Purple Rain and everything else we're doing as well. So, all right. With that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through the episode of 102 of the Purple Rain podcast. And honestly, I hope I see you guys a lot sooner than Monday. Hopefully that means the Ravens made a move that we really like. Hopefully JC Treader. But until then, stay positive, test negative, and
yeah, never, ever forget, like my guy Black Daniel says down here, call God. This has been episode 102 of PRP.